You could join us. In our first story, police this morning fired warning shots at the Buglanes Palace in the Tamale metropolis to restore calm following tension between the youth of Yong and the Dakpema Palace. The youth of Yong had visited the Buglana to present a petition over the selection of a chief by the Dakpema they claim is not the rightful person for the Yong skin. There has been tension in Yong for the last 3 weeks over who is the right heir to the throne. Two stepbrothers are both claiming the rights to the skin. Our correspondent Martina Bugri joins us with details. Martina, give us some more background to this.
This morning, youth from Yong marched to the Bogolanes Palace to lay their complaint. They are saying that they are imposing a chief on them who they say they don't want. They also went to the Gumanas Palace as well to lay their complaint as well. But it turned a bit disorder when they started pelting stones. They and then the palace, the youth from the Dakwemas Palace, they started pelting stones at each other. The police were called in with the military, and then they had to come and disperse the crowd because tension was building and it was beginning to get disrupted.
So what's the current situation in the area?
Calm has been restored, and the Tamale Metropolitan Police Commander and the Boglanas Palace had a meeting, and they were able to resolve the issue to get the youth of Yong back to their community so that the chief would later on dialogue with his people to find amicable solutions to what is building up. And so after the meeting, the police commander and the youth, the elders of the Boglanes Palace came out to address the youth, and the youth have gone back to the community.
So the youth understand the way forward now?
Well, from what I gather from the public relations officer of the Boglanes Palace, it says that the chief would meet with the elders of Yong and the two persons involved in the dispute, and then find an amicable solution to the issues that are coming up.
Thank you very much, Martina Bugri. Let's now hear the public relations officer of the Buglanas Palace, Abdul Wahab Kamal, who was speaking to the media about the way forward.
Alhaji Ibrahim has just spoken to the youth of Yong to be calm, so that when they should go home and be calm and waiting to hear anything from the Bulana Palace. He entreated them that there is no any struggle that can come to settle a matter. So they want it to be settled amicably. And concerning the person that was arrested just this morning, the DSP Tanko said that when he goes to the police station, he will make sure that they release him to Bulana, so that Bulana will send him to Bulana will, together with the young elders, will send them to listen, so that peace will prevail. Tamale will sit as calm as ever. At this came because, you know, as an elder person said that when you are a small boy, and when you are small and something happens to you, you have to come to your elder. So that is what brought them here, so that they will register their displeasure on what has been happening in Yong.
Can you tell us what is happening in Yong?
It's a dispute that is in Yong. There were two persons that were taken as the heir apparent of Yong. That is the Chimsi and the Fuseni. So this is what brought about the disturbances, or this brought about Yong disturbances. So these people, they didn't want to do anything untoward. That is why they came to Boglana to tell Boglana that what is happening in Yong, they are not happy about it.
We have eyes on that story. We'll bring you more when there are developments. In the meantime, Majority Leader of State Chairman Sabonsu says the Auditor General would soon have the legal backing to make public details of assets declared by public officials. He says Parliament will soon amend the law on assets declaration to make that possible. He's been speaking to journalists on the House's agenda for the rest of the year. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo observes Parliament on our behalf, and he joins us on the line. Joseph, what else has the Majority Leader been saying?
So the Majority Leader has also been disclosing that there would be the amendment to the customs law to regulate things having to do with the importation of second-hand vehicles, as well as the importation of vehicle spare parts. He says that will be done with a very deliberate consciousness to ensure that local automobile industries that are seeking to establish here in Ghana thrive and are able to make the necessary profit and are able to create the needed jobs within the local economy. That, he says, will be done. He says as well that there will be efforts to pass a cyber security bill in the course of this particular meeting before the House adjourns, and that is aimed at strengthening the cyber security systems in the country and ensure that those who misuse it are punished. And then he spoke about the ongoing plans to amend the laws having to do with asset declaration, which he says they are taking very, very seriously. And those
did he say
documents
when
will be laid on the floor of Parliament.
Did he say when they would be passing that bill into law?
He didn't, except to say that will be done before the House eventually dissolves by December.
Thank you very much, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, for that update. Away from that, government appears to be making some headway with the retrieval of excavators seized from illegal mining sites, which could not be accounted for. Of the about 500 excavators seized by the National Anti-Galamsey Task Force, the Interministerial Committee could tell the whereabouts of only 140. A number of arrests have been made over the disappearance after the Minister of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Professor Kwabena Frimpong-Boateng, launched a complaint to the police, leading to the retrieval of some of the heavy-duty machines. JoyNews' Latif Idris visited the Adenta Aviation Park in Accra, where some of the excavators are being evacuated to from various parts of the country.
The fight against illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, has taken an intriguing twist. The fight has somewhat left the bushes, the water sources and the forest reserves and has now found its way on the corridors of power with accusations and counter-accusations and a few arrests along the way. The fight, which we all know started intensely in 2017 when President Akufo-Addo took over as president, led to the arrest and seizure of about 500 excavators. At least that's what we were told by then Lands and Natural Resources Minister John Peter Amewu. Today the fight has taken a different twist. After these excavators, 500 of them were told were arrested. Miraculously, some of these excavators went missing. These excavators were seized from illegal small-scale miners who were doing their businesses in the river bodies, in the forest reserves, and the country's most treasured places. The excavators are now at the center of the controversy and the intriguing stories that are unfolding in the fight against the illegal activity of mining. Behind me, we can find dozens of some of the excavators that were seized from illegal small-scale miners who were doing their nefarious activities in the bushes and forests of the country. Today, we know some little over 300 have been retrieved. Now, out of that, what we have here is nowhere close to 300. And even out of the 500 excavators that were seized, only a little above 300 have been found or located. Question is, where are the remaining excavators? And that is why some appointees, government appointees who were entrusted and very instrumental in the arrest and seizure of these excavators are now bound to answer the questions about where exactly these excavators are. We are told some of the excavators have been sold out in Ghana and outside the country. We are also told some of these excavators that were seized between 2017 and 2019 have somewhat miraculously found their way back into the forest doing their illegal business.
Still on this story, the convener for the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Ken Ashigbe, said no one should be shielded if found to be complicit in the missing excavator saga. He spoke earlier on News Desk.
It's important that the interministerial committee will give to you the media evidence what it is that have been seized, what have been retrieved, what cannot be retrieved, who was complicit. So we need to also follow up at the police end, ensure that they do a detailed investigation. We have heard a lot of names, but in our country, you are innocent till proven guilty. So we need to ensure that everybody whose name has been mentioned is investigated, because we should not care who's asked God in this particular situation. Everybody has to be looked. We owe it to them that if they are innocent, they are declared innocent. But those who are also guilty, they owe it to us. Ensure that the punishment is swift, the punishment is severe, so that for you, the media who are involved, the Operation Vanguard team that are putting their life at risk, all the Ghanaians that we want to contribute to this fight, they will all know that once they come into this thing and they report it, action will be taken, and it will be a motivating factor. It would be a deterrent, motivating factor for those who want to do right, a deterrent for those who want to do.
Also, the Greater Accra chairman of the Small Scale Miners Association, Ernest Owusu, says they are compiling names of all their members whose excavators were seized during the Operation Vanguard period.
We are compiling all the list of the people that the excavator have been seized and have been stolen. So now that's what we are doing right now.
What number do you have currently?
Now we have about 100 going, so it's ongoing process. We are bringing a lot of documents that shows that the excavator have been seized. We have our lawyers, we have people that we are going to send these our documents so that we give it to the government. It has affected a lot of business because our members are not working now. Without the excavator, you can't go to the site. Are you getting it? Now, excavator has been stolen, and then the whole lot of problem in the excavator. So now you can't go. If you go to the site, what are you going to do in the site?
How many of your members have been affected?
Oh, now it's about almost 1,000 and over miners are affected now.
Away from that story, absence of a prosecutor in the case in which a driver of the Bank of Ghana and his wife are standing trial for the alleged murder of a restaurant operator in a hotel on New Year Day has forced the Asokwa District Court to adjourn the hearing. Edwin Uku and his wife Belinda were in court for the third time over the murder of Comfort Owusu. Prosecutor who held brief for his colleague told the fully packed court the substantive prosecutor is on special duty, hence his inability to be in court. My colleague, Ohiming Teria of the security desk, was in court and joins us on phone with more. Ohiming, what exactly happened?
Yes, Daniel, the court was told by a prosecutor who had a brief for the substantive prosecutor that the prosecutor has left on a special assignment, and hence his inability to report in court. But the court adjourned sitting to 21st of this month. Don't forget the last sitting, the court denies the wife of the Bank of Ghana, the driver of the Bank of Ghana bill, on condition that she has not cooperated with police investigators. So at today's court hearing, it was a fully packed court attended by mainly the family and relatives of the late Comfort Owusu who were in court in their numbers. As usual, they held insults at the two accused persons, Mr. Edwin Awuku and his wife, Belinda Awuku, asked the police protesting unit whisked them away, Daniel.
Right, Ohiming, did the prosecutor who held brief for the regular prosecutor explain why he was unable to continue for his colleague?
Hello, Daniel. Can you come up again?
I was asking, did the prosecutor who held brief for his colleague explain why he was unable to continue with proceedings today?
Yes, he was hopeful that his colleague prosecutor, the substantive one, will be available at the next court hearing. Even then, he said he couldn't provide enough information as to whether the Attorney General's Department has furnished the prosecution team with the advice on what to do or in this particular case. So the presiding magistrate adjourned proceedings.
Right. We're finding it difficult to hear Ohiming at this point. We can continue with other stories now. Right, they're still live on JoyNews today. Now, doctors at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital say they are ready to manage any case of the novel coronavirus. The facility has 2 centers to hold patients. Now, the holding and treatment centers are fully equipped with 35 staff members. There's more in the following report by Ifwa Evans-Chinwe.
I'm here at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, one of the health facilities designated by the Ministry of Health to manage possible cases of the novel coronavirus. And I have with me Dr. Emmanuel Sofignon, the medical director at the hospital here, to tell us what exactly is going to happen if anybody comes in here with the virus.
We are at a center that we call the Infectious Disease Center. The Infectious Disease Center of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. So, as I have explained earlier, the process starts from the emergency units. If a case is suspected or referred in as a confirmed case, these are the 2 possibilities that the patient may have just walked in herself or himself, and we will, through our screening process, suspect that it may be possibly a case, or confirmed case having been transported through an ambulance system to our doorsteps. When that happens, the necessary communications takes place, and then the patient is conveyed through our own internal ambulance system to this center.
Before visiting the centers, Medical Director Dr. Emmanuel Sofignon took the team on a tour of some of the wards where triages have been set up to ensure all patients are properly screened before they are allowed into the facility.
You are checked first at that table that is in front to check your temperature and give you, and if the temperature is high, we check on the travel history. And then once you are cleared, then you are free to come here. And then the staff here is also safe to access you in a more detailed manner. So that is the process.
So where do you keep anybody whose temperature is detected to be high? Where do you keep the person?
Thank you. So all that we will do is that when we detect you that your temperature is high, then it means your temperature is high and you have a travel history and you have signs and symptoms that is suggestive that probably you may have the condition. Then it means that we will set you aside, give you a seat to sit on, and we make arrangement. We call the drivers, and they come in a very protected manner to transport you to the holding center.
Dr. Sofignon is, however, worried about the insufficient number of doctors and nurses at the hospital if there should be cases of the virus at the facility. He's pleading with government to deploy more nurses and doctors to the facility.
We have security men on board, we have orderlies on board, we have doctors on board, and we have nurses on board. But the implication then is that these staffs are staff who work in the main hospital. So when we deploy them here, there's going to be shortage on that side. And that is why we would like to use this medium to also appeal to the government to send us more of the technical staff, especially the nurses and then additional doctors, so that the preparedness plan can really work. Because much as we are treating these patients that may come, we don't also want to compromise on the work that is done on the main side.
Dr. Sofignon also advised the general public to be wary and ensure they practice good personal hygiene habits.
Away from coronavirus, the Ministry of Communications says government has no intention of shutting down the internet in Ghana during the 2020 elections this year. Sector Minister Esther Osu-Ekufo, however, says access to social media could be restricted if the abuse of the platforms and the spread of misinformation continues. Speaking on the sidelines of the Freedom Online Conference Thursday, she highlighted the phenomenon of fake news as one of the numerous challenges regulators in the sector are having to grapple with. Henry Kwesi Bedu has the rest of the story.
According to statistics from the National Communications Authority, about 40% of Ghanaians have internet access. But fake news, voice doctrine, and invasion of privacy, according to the Ministry of Communication, are becoming problematic.
It is not the tool itself which is bad, but the use to which it is put. So if we're not careful, then we will veer towards making it difficult for legitimate users of that same tool because of the abuses to which it's been put. We've seen a lot of fake false stories being published in the media, on social media, supposedly as genuine stories. We've seen signatures of people being put to false documents claiming that they are authentic. We have seen even photographs being doctored with people being parts of people's bodies being put on others to create the impression that they were somewhere or were something.
Sector Minister Esther Owusu-Ekufo downplayed suggestions government may want to tinker with internet during election 2020. The minister also debunked fears that it will shut down all social media platforms in the run-up to the 2020 parliamentary and presidential elections.
For me, I don't think shutting down the internet is an option. There have been several countries which have been compelled to go down that route. But whether or not countries would even consider that possibility depends on the willingness of all actors to engage in a conversation about more responsible uses of these very useful tools. If we don't do that, then governments are compelled to say that, we don't have any other option than to shut it down. But it's like throwing out the baby with the bathwater. You need it for legitimate purposes. People are using it for wrongful purposes. Are you going to say because of that, everybody should be barred from using it? I don't think so. So I think it's a good opportunity for us to begin to have those conversations. We have time before others maliciously use this very useful tool and make it difficult for all of us who want to use it legitimately to conduct our businesses. I pray and hope that we never get to the point where we would even consider shutting down social media generally. But whether we or not we will do that depends on how we all work together to ensure that we can sanitize this space. And I'm confident that if we put our minds together, we can pull the best of what is being done elsewhere and fashion a framework that will ensure that the internet stays open. Those who want to use it legitimately are given all the space and encouragement to do so. And those who want to use it for antisocial activities are dealt with in accordance with our law.
Now, enjoy Clean Ghana. If you thought inhabitants of Jamestown are exclusively guilty of channeling their toilet facilities into drains and the sea, then you need to revise your notes. The practice is pervasive in Accra. People living in North Kaneshie also connect untreated liquid waste into drains. AMA public health officers have served and closed down a movie house at North Kaneshie after obtaining a court order from the Labadi Circuit Court. The team discovered that the facility had channeled its liquid waste into the drains. Nancy Emefa Dwadosi has the rest of the story.
The team met Mr. Divine, the caretaker of the luxury movie house, and served him with a court order.
So, per the instructions of the court, we are here to close down the place. So that is
not a little harsh? No. Because I remember the last time that I spoke with Rukia and...
I don't even know the Rukia you are talking about. Rukaya, yes. The Rukaya, she's one of my staffs, yes.
Yes.
So that is it. So I think I'm the overall boss of Rukaya.
You are Rukia's boss.
Yes. So we are here this morning to execute the place is too hot. Please, the place is what? Let's go outside. Yeah.
So that's what we are coming to do this.
The sanitation inspector then takes us to the drains
To this
that have
chamber.
been connected to the toilets.
This chamber here. You understand?
So you could see the colors. So those white colors shows that is excreta coming out from the drain. So they have channeled, they've laid the pipe under to this place. So all the water from this side going now is contaminated.
But this drain connects to more gutters, a problem Mr. Asitanga, a sanitation officer with the AMA, finds worrying.
The vegetables that we buy in the market, most of everybody in Ghana enjoys vegetables, and this particular discharge of the effluent is what gets to the stagnated points that they use to water these vegetables, and you see it looking very green and very leafy, very attractive, and it's the source of contamination of this that gives us this typhoid. All the preventable diseases that we report daily is coming from this source.
We go back to the premises of the luxury movie house, and Madam Kuchi, sanitation officer with the AMA, announces to the caretaker that the time had elapsed. They pleaded for more time.
There is nobody in.
Please,
So
we gave you 10 minutes to let the people be out.
I am begging you. We are human.
Please.
I'm coming. I know it's an order.
Please.
I know it's an order. 10 minutes is woefully inadequate.
So how many minutes do you want us to give you?
20 to 30 minutes. I will just get them organized. 10 minutes, I cannot do that.
Okay.
I cannot
For the social phase we have, we'll give you that 30 minutes for you to get them organized. The Kaneshi police are also on their way coming.
Mr. Asitanga follows the caretaker upstairs and convinces the clients to move out. As we waited for the client to move out, we take a tour around the facility. We discover dirty drains, smelly containers filled with clothes and towels, and broken septic tanks.
So this is the inspection chamber as well. The inspection chamber is broken. For this side, when you open, you see raw excreta because it's straight. It is from here that it goes to the septic tank, and it is broken. A notice was served on them as well to seal it, yet they have refused to seal it.
Madam Kuchi then narrates a dramatic scene they encountered on the 3rd of February this year.
And the operation team came to effect the arrest. The manager passed through inside as if he was going to wear something. Then he entered through one of the rooms and came out and passed through the roofing and jumped down. Then he climbed on the tree. So he was arrested on this tree.
Soon, the clients came down, and both Madam Kuchi and Mr. Asitanga instructed the sanitation guards to lock up the place.
I don't know whether they still have the keys.
So please use our lock and lock it so that they also use their lock to lock it. So please also lock.
Use your own.
You also use your own to lock. Under no circumstance should this door be opened without our permission.
They will not even tamper with it. If they want, they should tamper.
For this one, we are not locking it. We are locking this one.
This one?
This one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, so we are done. So we are done with the court order. So we are leaving. On 21st of this month, we'll meet in court. They said they have all the things that we asked them to produce. They will bring it in addition to what is still flowing outside there.
If you are doing wrong, change, else the laws will catch up with you.
It's live on Joy News today. Here on Joy News, coming up in business, lands bill expected to be passed soon to harmonize other laws related to land issues. Emmanuel Abuajiriafe has the details after this.